Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. It is another Thursday at 3:30 with Consciousness Conversation, Dr. Thomas and myself, Melissa. I hope you're all doing well out there and having a beautiful week. How are you?
I am well. It is whew, it's been a gloomy few days. Like never know what the windshield wipers going to be on, like just a delay or speed fast or whatever. So I'm driving, like up, gotta make it faster, make it slower, whatever the temperature will say to be. I don't know.
No, seriously, I
All
went
that
out for
good
a
stuff.
walk last night, yesterday afternoon, and I was like, what coat do I wear? Do I need the really heavy one? Do I need gloves? Do I need a hat? Yeah, I get it.
hmm I mean, it's hey, it's still nice outside. I'm not complaining. Uh, it just when you drive, I was literally driving. I drove to Buffalo today and a
Oh,
dentist
wow.
appointment. Yeah, my dentist is in Buffalo. Uh, it goes down to what resonates with you, where you're at in your life. And it was before COVID, like November before COVID. Strangely enough, when all this stuff was happening to me in the beginning. So the beginning of everything for me with all this journey, uh,
Right.
I had a dentist locally, and I was asking the dentist questions, and I was getting half answers or bad answers.
Mm.
And so I finally said, screw it. I called the office of my childhood dentist. Now, when I was in college, the guy that runs it now, it was a small one-person practice, bought the practice. And so I went to him when I was first out of college, first was married, went to him. Then we moved around and there. It's like, hey, do you mind? I got blah, blah, blah's happening. Do you mind seeing me? He goes, sure. They say, come on in. And I was actually the last person he saw before the office had officially closed for COVID a few months later.
Wow.
He's like, they called my office, so we are being closed by the health department, whatever, for COVID. Uh, Today's your last day. You are this appointment. Everyone else canceled. Are you coming in or not? I'm like, I'm on my way. So I had the hour drive, so I came in. I was the last appointment, and but the big difference was like even today, he was looking at my teeth. He goes, And he asked the hygienist, so when do the premolars come in? And she's like, well, I don't know, like 11, 12. She goes, I wonder. And he looks at me and goes, I wonder if you had a fever or something around that time when they were coming in. Because look at he's talking about turn. See what happens, and he was giving me the whole science behind it. I'm like, you see, this is why I went to this doctor because we're having, and this is like 3 years later, we're having these type of in-depth conversations of he's explaining the biology and the growth of the teeth in relation to were you sick, what this went on, what can cause this to happen at this point. Because I saw some the other day, and I asked them what happened when you're 11 because these teeth here have this white line on it, like you had braces, but it wasn't. It was because of this happened, which was caused by this happening during the growth of the teeth when you're this age.
Interesting.
Oh, it's interesting stuff, but it's fun stuff. So yeah, but driving here, I remember I had to put a little bit slow wipers, no wipers, fast wipers. It was all that good stuff. All right,
I
I'm just
know,
gonna close that.
we're in central New York for those of you who don't know and maybe watching us on a replay or around the world somewhere. But yeah, wait 5 minutes and the weather will change. It totally applies. Totally
Yep,
applies. So we are talking about light language today,
we are.
and I'm
Hold
going to
on a
have
second.
you start the conversation because you said light
Well,
language 101, and I'm like, yep, that's where I am.
I'll let you. As I share this out, why don't you talk to people? Why don't you just
Okay.
tell us what you believe light language is?
Oh gosh. The only thing I really know about light language is I've seen it. Many people channel it and write it, and it's beautiful, but we can't read it as we would read, like, yeah. So no, I mean, I know that it's activating. I know that when we see it, it's activating. And it's funny you say that because shoot, I don't have it, but I had a um one of our friends is a light language channeler, and she does art. And I actually have a couple of her pictures that she's done light language in. And I don't have one I can actually show. Shoot. But yeah, so I know it's activating. I know that seeing light language written down, even though we don't understand it in our humanness, it does activate us. That's what I can say about light language. Hi,
There you go.
Darlene.
Hi, Cynthia. I think she's on. I know she's on.
She's on yours, yeah. Hi, Jonathan. Welcome. Hi, Michelle. Hello. Welcome, everyone, especially those of you watching on the replay. Please hashtag replay, like, and subscribe. So if you're on YouTube, definitely check out my channel at Guidance 311, and then also Dr. Thomas at TDI PhD. So you can definitely check both our channels out for all kinds of good stuff. Dr. Thomas channels once a week on topics that come through that are downloaded to him. And right now I'm in the process of putting up videos on Spiritual Awakening 101. So it's so funny we're talking Light Language 101, but today I'm in the process of uploading a video on universal laws. So if you've not gone to my tab for healing and classes, please do, because there's lots of good information there. I also have a beautiful video on chakra system and what that is. So lots of good stuff coming down the pike for both of us to help each and every one of you wherever you are on your journey. So it's all good stuff.
Yes. So Cynthia wrote, "Is it more like feeling it than mentally understanding it?"
Oh.
To add to you. So let's first off light language. There are many different forms of light language. Let us be clear. There are many different forms of light language. Just like on this planet, there are many different forms of language. So there are many different forms of light language. Now, it's an ancient language. It is not what you speak here and understood here. It is a language spoken via the souls. We'll say that. That is easy way to understand it. It is languages of different species of races of aliens, different ways of communicating different planets. But in the end, it is a way of communicating that is unlike what you think of as communicating. When you think of communicating, you think it's got to be words to understand, or a visual representation of something. Yeah, I got a friend, Johanna. She does the light language in picture shows, and she adds some letters and words to it. That's one way of expressing the light language. But in the end, what it is a better and simpler way for us to communicate in secret. Oh, secrets. Why do I say in secret?
Yeah.
It's not fully in secret, but it is because you're not really supposed to know, in most of the cases, what the language is saying to you. Now, yes, like he was talking to someone today who speaks light language in thousands of different versions of it. And that person explored and shared a couple different versions of it. And each one had a different tone and different punctuations and different intensities and energies with it. If we showed you what it really meant, what we're trying to show you, he's trying to say us, and we want to explain it, like what we truly look like, what your soul truly look like. It would be mixed of so many different colors and shapes and ideas and things. It would be you would hear and feel and see all of this together in the language that's communicated. It is not straightforward like in English or what you think of here. But we talk about the secret because it is the way it must be for life to go the way you want it to go. So when he speaks light language, the purpose, the meaning behind it can vary greatly by what the intent of what he's doing. It can be a simple healing, of peace and love. Yonakario Shutufumbia Shata Yanakatan Tutu Shataki. It can be like an activation of something. And we can give more examples. It can be like a celebration. It can even be a Shataya Rokienda Fumbashata Karo Shield Rokiata. Okay, that's a little more sass. It's a little more like, is this person really doing this? And that's what the Italians would do. He's got the Italian in him. So he does that too. But it can be various things. But we go back to the secret. Imagine you are being told, imagine you're being told your future. Well, if you're told your future, what do you think you're going to start believing and expecting? What the future is supposed to be based upon that vision you were told or whatever you were showed by that person or the psychic or your vision, whatever it is. Well, as you go forward from the time of that vision, if you do something, any little thing different than what that future was predicting, you are now on a different path. And that future may not come. But you are expecting something. You are expecting something very specific. And so you are having a bias towards that. Your choices will be made based upon that bias, based upon that information you were told. When it doesn't come to fruition, you will blame the person that said it as a fraud or not knowing what they're talking about. You will pass the responsibility onto everyone and everyone else, and you will not take it for yourself. Or when it comes to fruition and it goes there, you will just be an expected gift. It will not be something that you understood. Rather, you will see it as a gift given to you without the weight and understanding of the importance of that which came to you. So we say this very specifically because that is an intention of the light language. Now, yes, some of it can be understood, and we would sometimes share it with you because it can be. But in times like when he uses it, or others use it, for an activation, for a healing, for something special for you, what it is a communication with the soul, with the higher self. It can be silent, but the whole point is not for it to be silent, because you need to hear it. You need to feel and hear the energy coming out in those words that are being spoken. You need to hear it so you know something is going on. Because that is the way our human brains work. Our human thought wants it to be. We expect it to be that way. So when he does a light language to someone, and there's an activation, we don't even tell him what the activation is. Why? Because he no need not to know. The only one that needs to know is the soul, the higher self. Because what will happen is it can be explained a couple of different ways. It's like an activation, a switch. What we're going to show is like a book of wisdom. And when the activation happens, imagine a book of your life, of your ancient past, of all the wisdom inside of you. And now we're taking a page. And you look at other page and you can flip through this book and you won't see anything. Except for a few of the pages in the beginning, which are your current life. But now you open through a page. And with the activation, the letters and words appear. They appear. It doesn't mean you've read it. It doesn't mean you understood it. But is now open and ready for you if you accept it and you begin to read it in your subconscious, in your conscious, and your soul will read it. And then what will happen is the opportunities for you will appear based upon what is needed to understand what was activated. And then your free choice, your free will comes into play. And if what comes out there and you accept it and you start following it and you understand it and it makes sense to you and you grasp it, you will feel it and see it even more. Now you will feel a sense of what is happening in the very beginning that something has happened, but you must then step through the process of what was awoken inside of you. That is different for everyone because every person is different and on different spots in their journey. So what they will feel and see and experience will be completely different, even if the words sound in the light language to them the exact same for two different people. Because the page of activation is going to be different. Where they're at is going to be different. What they accept is going to be different. What they choose is going to be different. And the results can be completely different. But what it is a love. It's a love that is being sent. It is a love in a language from ancient times, not of here. That is deeper in the soul. And it is not just for humans. There's light language for animals, for nature, for all different things. Someone could walk out into the forest and start speaking light language to the trees, and different things will happen. Activations will happen. Different things will go on. It is different. But when it comes through, it's not seen in the body, choosing what to say and saying it out with an intention. It is just what is coming through from the spirit.
So
And
light
sometimes it's
language.
galactic too. Sometimes it's galactic too that comes through. And so it's galactic spirit beings that will speak in this soul's language to that. Now you go.
No, I just wanted to kind of parse some of that came through about how the activation takes you from one point in your life to another point in your life after you have been exposed to the light language. Did I get that right?
Yes, it is. Yes, so Korea, yes. Uh, Different for everyone, but it's a lot of times it's for the moment and now to give the message, and then it can be whatever is felt and received is helps you take through to the next. Now, that's just one example. Um, I'll use it sometimes to just have conversations. I don't know what I'm saying, but I know it's a conversation that needs to be had. Might now there are times where I'll say it and I'll think what I'm saying and it'll come out in the light language. So I'm having a conversation with myself in theory. Um, but it is even when I work with lower vibrational stuff, like that, I won't know the words I'm saying because so let's break it back up. imagine that which you're talking to a baby. Talking to a baby. The baby's not going to understand you. It's speaking English. But we do goo goo gaga gee gato rosha. Guess what? The baby smiles and maybe not understand you because you don't understand you, but they understand you. So the same thing is with other entities that are around. Sometimes the other language needs to be spoken to get to their attention. Because it's not just soul to soul, which is the primary focus of what we're using it for, but it is also for that which is around us.
Okay.
It is also for the greatest highest good for the universe. Like you said, the plants, the trees. There's a lot of different things it can be used with. And so, like, I know I use it sometimes in removal of low vibrational things.
Okay, because
Through.
I was doing a meditation, a guided meditation with a woman, and she had light language. She was speaking like you do, coming through as the meditation was going on, and that was interesting to me because even though we didn't understand obviously what she was saying in the light language, it was obviously part of the meditation. And so, I think that even though we don't understand what's being said, we can still feel the, vibration of it. And I feel like that's kind of like that analogy you were just given with the baby that, they don't know what we're saying, but they feel the energy that's coming at them through that goo goo gaga. They know we're being, high vibrational. So they're feeling that frequency. So yeah, I think that it's not so much like getting caught up on like what it means or what the light language is, saying in translation, but how is it making you feel?
Mm-hmm. And that's a good. I mean, even today that happened. I was talking to this friend, and she sent it to me in like three different versions, three, four different versions. In the first version, I'm like, "Ooh, that's different than what I've heard from you before." This is peace. The next one said it came on like timeout. Nope, you can't speak that one. You cannot speak that language to me. Not in a bad way, but I'm like that one is too resonating. That resonates very high with me. That's a very high one with me, but the two of us, we can't speak it to each other. And then the next one was like a completely different thing. It was a completely different. I knew it was a complete out of what even spectrum and what it would be. Because I didn't go, but she can speak it and she can understand it because that's one of the gifts that she has. And for the most part, she can get her team will help her with that. But it's that energy you can feel from it. There's an intention to it all. The intention is not always what we intend. It's what they want the intention to become. I mean, literally, the environment you're in will determine. And I can, I'll even go in different tones. I'll call dialects because there are. And to think that it's just all good, and 99.9, just like in humanity, 99% of all humans in the deep core are good. But low vibration has a low vibration too.
Oh,
Uh,
of course, because you can't have the high without the low. So absolutely.
right.
But I do want to piggyback for a minute and just ask you, like you said, there was one language that the two of you you didn't want her to speak to you. Can you like tap into that and like tell us like why or what was
Oh.
going on that made you feel
No, it wasn't bad. It was just I just it was a deeper language of how do I put it? A deeper, older language that put it nice, easiest way, romantic language of love.
Oh, okay.
So like when that game like go time out, you can't because you're getting me all energized. This was giving me energized. I know this is a different energy that's coming out from this version of
Okay.
the language. Uh, we can
So it
even
was
go
a
back to this
frequency you
version.
didn't want to get into.
Right.
Okay, that's the best way to put
Yeah.
it.
That's a great way to put it. I'm like, no, if we speak light language, we're gonna go into this one in this version. We're gonna talk other way. We're gonna change the yes. It's like what a good way of putting it is like when you see like Pepe Le Pew and the French accent and the wooing like so they can they it's not like it's that way, but what I sense when I heard it, my sense is it's a very old ancient language that when it was spoken, when me and that person were together, when we were spoken, there was a more of a connection, and
Gotcha.
so that would trigger that because it's all part of the akashic, all part of who you are, and so sometimes they can trigger different emotions at different times.
Right.
And so for me, I sensed that right away when I heard it.
Okay.
Ooh, this is for me. That language brings more of this energy, this different type of energy. Um, but it's so versed with it. But different ways of speaking it. There's thousands of different styles because it's a universe thing. Um, it really is. And if you think about the human structure, you think about our vocal cords itself and how we are built. You know, there's only so many things we can actually do and say. But other plants have other things, and the word language and blah blah blah. The things that come out there. Um, but the whole point that I want to make, I get that asked this all the time. What did you say?
Mm.
Sometimes I know. The majority of times I'm not supposed to know.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Right.
fathom what's happening. Hey, we're doing the activation. The time to make me move my hand. So you say activation, healing, just grounding in peace. So my hand signals have certain things. If I'm like this, it's more deep and more intentional with what I'm saying. With my fingers, they're up like that. So I'm starting to understand the finger, my hand, my gestures in relation to what is going on with the words that are coming out.
Very
But
cool.
that's me going through the time and trying to put the pieces together. But for the most part, as the receiver, you're getting a gift for your highest and greatest good. What you do with this gift is completely your choice. We do not care. Let's put it, be blunt. We are activating you to do something. We would love it, if you took the activation and felt what it could do for you. However, we love you if you don't take it, and He will give it to you again if you ask for it and need it. And we'll give it to you again. We will gladly give you that activation 1,000 times because it's about you. So it doesn't matter to us if you don't take it or not. Well,
Oh, we lost him. Hopefully he'll be back. So what I took from that, folks, is light language is a
thought that
gift.
way.
Oh, there you are.
Someone called him. I should say, yeah,
Oh,
and spam. But if that makes sense, it's a lot simpler and a lot more complicated at the same time. But all
mhm.
we need to know is it's always for the highest and greatest good.
Thank you. That's the important part. That it's a gift and it's always for your highest and greatest good. That's perfect.
Yeah. Cynthia goes, I get very emotional, even cry sometimes when I hear Adirondra or Christine Day speak light language. You can. And perfectly, that's when that happens, you're resonating with it. You know you've accepted what's going to come out. The biggest challenge with people is they don't accept the unusual and what's going on. And then two, another language, and you don't even know what you're talking about. How does that even work? So you add all this together, then the skepticism happens, and then even accepting and receiving the gift is tough to do.
Hmm.
And if you were told what the gift was, oh my goodness, can you imagine how tough this would be? If you're told, hey, you're gonna get this ability to be a I don't know, be a full medium and see spirits. Oh my goodness, oh, I'm gonna be scared. No, I don't want to do this. And then all of a sudden the first spirit shows up and you're freaking out running away. Or it doesn't show up because you actually even better, you don't show. It doesn't show up, and you keep on expecting. You keep saying, "Where's it? Where's it? Where's it? Where's it?" But what you were supposed to do in the whole process was actually understand step one. But you've jumped to step 10.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
activated it, and the first step is going with. I'm just making it up. The first step is going within, understanding the peace that you have. Because until you get that peace, we can't even move you to step two, which is now understanding who they are. It's going to come to if you understand the peace in yourself, you are at peace with yourself, where you are not going to leave that peace. And now Now you understand that those that are going to come through are going to come through for the benevolence, for the greatest and highest good for the person. And now you're the person. So what we're going to do now is understand that everyone in your life has passed over and loves you greatly. And you understand that you receive that. You understand that you receive that. Okay. Now, here's your great uncle. Here's a glimpse. Can you handle the glimpse? Can you handle the glimpse? Can you handle the glimpse? Did you balk? Did you fear? Did you run away? Okay. Now I'll show you the glimpse again. Oh, it stayed longer this time. Not a glimpse. And you didn't balk away, but you balked a little bit. Oh, now for a third time. Look at that. You accepted it. You said hi. Ooh, we've got a connection. Now for the, you get this here? It goes on and stops. But when you think it's like, damn, Uncle Smith's going to be right here. And I should be able to talk. I'm sorry. Uncle Betty Sue's Uncle Smith is going to show up right here when Betty Sue's in front of me, is what they expect when they told to get there.
Right. Right. No.
Well, if you can't get Uncle Smith to come to you first, then as your own uncle, how are you going to help Betty with Betty Sue's uncle coming? And when you do, I mean, yes, not always that way, but that's typically how. This is one example of how the activation needs to go through the steps of these pages of a recipe to get you where you want to go.
No, and I think that that's the important message, is that it's always for your highest and greatest good. And the first time I had been exposed to light language in the written form, but it was really interesting for me when I started being exposed to it as a verbal communication. Because we don't understand it. And as our human self wants to, we always want the details. We always want the inside information, right? But I think the two things to take from it, like whenever you're exposed to it or whenever it comes to you, is to know that it's a gift and to know that it's for your highest and greatest good. And then it will reveal itself, whether you recognize that that was the activation or not. It's going to reveal itself.
Yes.
Awesome.
It will. And it's good stuff. And
it's all good stuff. It's
like,
all good stuff.
I wasn't going to share, seriously, now give an example for me. I knew for years, in 2020, 2021, I knew there was something wrong with my throat. It wasn't anything physical, but it was like, at times I literally once sat on the toilet thinking I was going to throw up for like 10 minutes in the middle of the night because the energy was so strong. And finally, in 2021, it was 2021, might have been 2020, can't remember. It'd be 2021 because I didn't know Medi or Sheila in 2020. She did the fire walk, and I had no idea why I was there, none whatsoever, except for hey, I'm gonna walk on fire. That's what that
right.
But I thought that was the whole thing. But there were activities to do in the middle of it, and the one activity we were gonna do, one of the first ones, she said, write on the paper your intention, your purpose for being here. I had no freaking clue. And then I saw the activity. And it was like, light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, oh my goodness. My throat chakra. I am here to remove whatever's blocking my throat chakra, whatever it is. I wrote that down, did the activity, did the fire walk, all that stuff. 2 or 3 days later, I go to yoga, and my Reiki is there, and I knew she was doing Reiki 1 training that weekend. I'm like, you know what? I think it's about time I do that. And she goes, oh my goodness. They're all cheering and jumping and saying yes. All your team saying yes. I'm like, okay. So we do that. And go through the training, and I'm doing my first ever Reiki training. Actually Reiki on a person. And so I start at the shoulder, start at the head, get to the shoulders, get to the heart space. I go to the stomach. So now I'm on probably on the solar plexus. Between the solar plexus and the sacral. And all of a sudden, as my hands are over there, I gave in. And I just started, let it come out. Light language was coming out. And I had no idea what was going on. I looked over, and she was ahead in front of me, but to the left of ways. And she is like rocky arms in the air, like, yes! Yes, they're all like, yes, don't stop. They're all like that for you right now. They're all cheering you again. And so I went through it, and that was the first time I let it come out. That was my experience, and it was all because I cleared what was there, where my truth, where the wisdom comes from, and then it took off. Now, I had something attached to me at one point, which would sometimes bring in a little lower version of that. Cleansed it, it's gone. The light came in, it's a whole other story. But once again, when it comes out, when it's come, like when I say it, it's with love and with pure intent. And it's always for the highest and greatest good. But that's how it came to me. And for me, it goes back to what I was talking about before and what we channeled. I had to understand it, go through the process of how it got to be before I could speak it. If I just started speaking out there, who knows if I would have kept it. But when I understood and I saw what happened, the sequence and the chronological order all happening, it was the steps. Clear, cleanse, remove. Okay, we're giving you this opportunity. Here's your first test. Are you going to take this test? Oh, you are. Let's go. Now you're here. Now you're doing it. Will you let us in? Let it in. Not knowing what was going to happen. I just felt like I had to start doing it. I just did it. No idea what I was saying, but I just felt the energy was flowing the right way. And then there it goes. Now sometimes if I close my eyes, it'll just come out. Or other times, it just comes out. But I've learned to let it come. And sometimes even in the wrong times, it just comes out. Because my kids laugh at me.
Oh.
They hear it, they laugh at me. You think I'm talking gibberish. I'm like, yeah, shut that. Down, kids. That's what we're doing. But in the end of the day, it's all good. It's all about what is best for us, what you're ready for. And sometimes it's just to open your minds and think in a different way.
Awesome.
Sometimes we're taking out a demon. All right, that's all I've got.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is definitely, I think, will be beneficial for those who are experiencing this and maybe not sure what it is or what to do with it or why it's happening. So thank you for sharing that with us.
To add one thing that on top, but so I've been channeling since November, and I think we've stopped and we're going to the next focused set of channels. And so it starts sometime the next few days. And I think the topic of the initial, I'm going to call it chapter, is going to be interesting. Because it's on the soul family. It's on the soulmate. It's on things we've talked about, but they're going to go a little more in depth to, I don't know what to come through, but a little more in depth to the start of understanding who you are, what we're comprised of, where we've come from, and who is that around us.
Very cool.
So just be ready. So if you haven't followed me on YouTube, look me up and just subscribe, and you see when that comes out, because I'll start I'm going to call it the next book.
Nice.
Because this is where it's going to start off with who is your soul family.
Awesome.
What does it mean in relation to your life?
No, that's really cool because so many people have that question, right? Who am I connected to? Why am I connected? Who is my person? Absolutely. I think that'll be really, really timely, especially with a lot of things that are going on in the energy right now. And so if you've not looked him up, if you've not gone to his YouTube channel and subscribed, the link is in the description box. So do that. I would highly, highly recommend doing that because I know that he...
No, I was saying, hi to Darlene, hi to Michelle, hi to Carmen, Liana, Tammy, you're new here. Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for another wonderful conversation.
Hey, you're welcome, and thank you. And we're here. Maybe we'll do it early next week.
Oh, all right.
We'll see. All right.
Okay. All right, guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And don't forget, you can go to my playlist, consciousness conversation on my YouTube channel. Link in the description box for more conversations, especially if you've got questions. We have conversations. All right, guys, have a beautiful day.